I'm gonna be trying the HUD's Bushwacker. It's gonna be with an VMC, VMC XL wide gap worm hook. It's got that nice extra long shank right there. I'm just gonna get this over this thread base down. Ooh. There is SF blend everywhere. Everywhere. Okay, so get that thread base a little bit. We'll go over this couple of barbs that are on here. Okay. Now, take our white SF blend. We're gonna give it a little bit of a taper. For when we tie it down. That way we don't have this big, bulky head. Tie out, I cut off some of this. Clean up some of that head, come back. So we're gonna basically stack, but we're starting tying from the front and moving back instead of building up. And then we'd have this big old bump at the front. So grab another little bit of SF blend, which is so easy to get out of the package. I'm sure some more experienced fly tyers have tricks. Again, we're going to put a little bit of a taper. On here. Yeah, alright, cool. I like that. Right there. Now, do a little bit of chartreuse. So do a little bit more white, just a little bit more. And again, this could be like the ugliest tie of a HUD's Bushwacker anyone's ever seen, but it'll probably get the job done. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Trim that a little bit better. Okay, it's getting nice and long, but we can always trim that off a little bit. So we're gonna pull out some of our chartreuse. Probably do a little bit more than that. Alright, God, this material is fantastic, but it is a frickin' mess. Take the strand out, I'm gonna cut it in half, double it up, align these fibers, trim it off a little bit. Alright. Now, in the middle though, I want to add some flash. What do I got in here? I got some of the cheapest Flashaboo, probably online because I was cheap. beginning of the pandemic, there was a total shortage on fly tying materials, it seems like. More strands. Trying to use scraps here. This is definitely not a speed tying video. Okay, so we got that Flashaboo in there. Now we're gonna take our chartreuse. Oh, that's a timer to go wake up my baby in the next 10 minutes. Okay, so stuff is so slippery, it's so hard to get a good grip on it sometimes with the thread. Okay. All right, so now the real HUD's Bushwacker calls for some eyes to be glued on, and I've always wanted to use these little tab eyes. So we're gonna use them. Put on this side. One on that side. Try and line them up. Gonna get a good wrap on them. Cut off the excess. Alright, like so. I'm gonna give it a good bunch of wraps. Get those eyes in place. Gonna do though. Okay, so I think we're at a point where we can whip finish. Once again, do the ugliest whip finish I've ever seen. Yo, look at that. Ugly. Ugly. But it'll get the job done, especially when there's some UV resin on there. Okay. Alright, so clean up this front here. Gonna hit it with some UV resin. This is the Solarez Bone Dry. It's fantastic. It's nice and thin, dries really quick, but being that it's thin, it really kind of soaks into the threads very easily as opposed to some thick stuff, which we'll get in a second. Alright, cool. I'm going to take a little bit of the thicker stuff. Oh no. Oh no. Looks like my UV resin has clogged even though I put a tip on it. Imagine that. So, see if I can just take care of it with some bone dry. Let's soak into the tip there a little bit. I'll stiffen those parts of the SF blend so that there's a little bit of like a weed guard. I mean, already there's, you know, this is fairly weedless and we have to trim this, but you know, I think that'll give it a little stiffness. It's gonna go right through some cover. All right, so we're good with that. This is what we got right now. Much longer than it needs to be. So I'm going to give it a little trim or shape it up here. This Flashaboo, which wasn't put on in the best way. Now we have ourselves nice, maybe a little bit more. Nice compact, really compact little weedless Hud's Bushwacker, or at least my attempt at it. So the Hud's Bushwacker, right there.